Good morning, everyone. It's Monday morning. Sunday race day was yesterday at Cirque, and we had a good day. Had a lot of playing around with a couple of different configurations on the chassis, and set one of our drivers up. Well, not one of our drivers, but one of Cirque's drivers up with an MTS T3, which is that chassis there. And after some fiddling around with suspension settings to get the feel that we needed, the last round of the finals, car was hooked up really good. Unfortunately, race incidents happen, and he was taken out on one of the corners, not intentionally, just a bit of a bargy, and he lost out in that battle. But he did really well with the MTS, but that's another story. What I'm here today to fill in on information is, a lot of people have asked what I've been doing in the background in relation to bits and pieces for cars and that type of stuff. We are with a gentleman name of DRC. A lot of you guys know who he is. Brilliant guy. He's actually helping me develop bumper bars and other accessories for the touring cars, maybe a little bit into the off-road as well, but we'll see how we go. That's another story on that itself. But we're getting these things done, which are basically the basically flexible 3D bumpers, but to cover not just one or two brands, but trying to cover the whole range of RC car chassis on the market. Currently we have these out to suit X-Ray, Mugen, Serpent, Automatics, and also a standardized, how would you call it, universal version that fits quite a few chassis that aren't very popular on chassis on the market, only because the actual hole spacings are going to be 70mm. There's going to be a couple that'll have slightly wider and so forth, but enough clearance on the back to allow you to drop it in past the posts for the bumper bar top plate to be bolted, and your two body posts. That's what they're going to look like. They vary a little bit depending on the brand, but the biggest thing we've discovered in getting these done is, if you see that, that's a standard profile which will fit about maybe, well, I'm happy to say about maybe 80% of all the bodies on the market, and covers quite nicely. Now this is what I call the standard X-Ray version, which just goes onto the MTS T3 chassis and pretty much the X-Ray chassis. We've tried it on 3 different X-Ray chassis, from a T4 to an X4, and they all fit as long as you run the standard body posts, not the ones that are adjustable forward and backwards. We haven't developed those as yet whatsoever. But there's also another one apart from the standard, which is what I call the 5mm deep version. Now that's standard, and when you put it onto the chassis, it allows a little bit of clearance between the body if you want to try and actually mount the body more forward or back or otherwise. It allows about 5mm clearance to play around with, and then all you do on your body is put some of these extenders, which is marketed by R.C. Maker, Ryan from R.C. Maker. They're 5mm deep, which allows you to take up the difference on the actual body, sorry, on the chassis. To give you an idea, if I'll pop that on now, takes up the slack, so you don't have a body that's going to wackety on the front. It is actually solid. It doesn't move because they just touch the bumper bar, but it makes sure that the body will not move. And in crush, it still allows that to take a fair bit of whack on the actual front, so you don't tend to transmit the energy backwards and wreck your bumper base and then your chassis where it mounts. Okay, so that's a good thing about these bumper bars. That one though is what we call a +5 version. It is 5mm deeper that direction, so you don't have to actually use the foam to take away that gap that's there at the front. These two are marketed for the X-Ray market. They will fit also the Race-Up MTS T3 and T3M, and also the R3 chassis and the X-Rays, because they tend to run the same spacings on the front. So that's a good thing on those ones. Now they're currently available in the web store. It's all descriptions are there to choose what you want to choose, including the AMX and Serpent and Mugen and so forth. The other last one is what we call a universal one. It's on the same realm as X-Ray, but there's two versions. One is 8mm, one is 12mm. This is 12mm deep. This is to suit a lot of the bodies that are not the current low profile ones like the Zoos and Twisters and that type of stuff, but it allows a lot more, and it's standard length, which means it's not going to touch the body unless you bring it right back, and at that stage you can actually put a bit of 5mm foam there or on the body to take up the difference in depth. Okay. But height is either available in 9mm or 12mm, so they'll actually go straight on. 70mm spacings, and it'll suit about, maybe, I'm guessing at this stage, about 70% on the markets, on the chassis on the market that I haven't covered in the range that we've got in the drop down. So they're just got to measure 77, and then obviously the height, and you can choose whatever you need out of those. They come ready to go on the e-store, so pick and choose what you want to do and which ones you need, and just basically order them. They'll go out the same day. The other thing is also a more standardized universal fan cover to suit 40mm fans. 30mm are coming out, but when you've got the alloy 30mm with their own mounting, there won't be anything for that at all at this stage until we sort of get some more stock to develop that. But they're a standard 40mm high-speed fan mount. Once you mount the fan, it's level at the base of the actual shroud, so then you can actually use, obviously, decent double-sided tape and onto the chassis. So this is universal. It'll suit anything that's on the market currently. Now these will cover a portion of the motor over the top, so it allows air to be forced over and into the actual workings of the motor, and this will actually, that gap will allow you to put your wires over to your terminals depending on how you actually mount the motor. But there's a gap there, so you can still get to your terminals if they sit at the top instead of down on the side. That is to cover pardon me, that is to cover the sensor board, but or sensor wire onto the actual sensor board plug on the back of the motor. But if you find that's in the way, just chop it off. Just get a knife, trim it off, and that's it there. To give you an idea, I'll grab you on my chassis that has, reaching it over, that has one of these and mounted as such. Trusty GT. There it is. See how I've actually just cut that over to allow clearance for the actual sensor wire, but the wires from the ESC to the motor nice and clean, and that is still over the motor to force as much air through the motor as possible. And I've set this up so it forces a lot of the air onto the back of the end bell, so on hot conditions it'll actually clear it, so it keep it cool a lot better than just having air going around the motor. It forces it through, so it does keep it much cooler. Last but not least, new body support. We've been trying a couple of different variations of this for GT and standard TC arrangement. At the moment, the weight setup is too long for a lot of the GTs. Sorry, for a lot of the TC chassis and the bodies that go onto them, because it's a little bit too tall and a little bit too far back. We've got this coming out with the corrected horn, if you want to call it, to suit pretty much GT and TC. In about a week and a half's time. We've just been playing around with how high it should be and how far or how short or how long it should be. This currently will suit a lot of the GT bodies that are on the market, short of it actually hitting the body top, which is the bonnet side of it. The new version will be more compatible to a lot of the later model stuff, which tends to have really low, very low bonnets, so then it'll actually be a lot more compatible. The good thing about these is we've decided to go with either a 2-piece or 3-piece. This is 3-piece, so you've got a spread plate at the top to actually spread the weight carrying of the horn. The horn itself bolts to the base, and the base bolts to the actual chassis. Bumper bar, standard bumper bar top there, and then this bolts straight to the top. Clears the actual tweak plate, if you want to call it, there, but also it still hits the bulkheads, so it'll actually stop it from going backwards and destroying your basically destroying the bottom of your chassis at those points there where it bolts up. They're in development still. We've got about another week or 2 weeks before we release those. They'll be on the web store as well, so that's something to look forward to. We're excited, myself and the young chap lovely chap who's helping me make these. He's got a lot of good ideas. We're implementing all this through the system. His name is Ollie. A lot of you guys know Ollie, but Ollie's helping me get these done, which is really, really good. And we'll have some more interesting little bits and pieces coming through weeks, in coming weeks, and basically a couple of months. Pardon the dishevelled look. I woke up with a headache, drinking a lot of coffee to get rid of that. But they're on the web store at the moment. We've got them as packages, whether it be just the shroud or a shroud with nuts and bolts. So it's shroud with bolts and a fan. Ready to go to drop in pretty much any car. Sorry about that. And bumper bars are in stock to cover the most popular brands. A couple of brands we're missing out on at the moment, but we need to get these to be able to make them, so we actually get the spacings right. This is going to be for the Arc, so we've got the ones for the Arc coming through soon, but the spacings on this are quite wide, so we're going to get some new ones made to suit the Arc itself. So enjoy your souls. If you need questions answered for those, they're online at the moment. We are looking at getting a couple of these into a couple of other retail stores as well, having conversations with those people at this stage. Look, subscribe, become a friend, and whatever information comes out to where they'll be available in your area will be passed on to the information page at Pit Lane Hobbies on Facebook, where you can get them locally, whether it be interstate or here in Victoria or otherwise. Take care, guys. Have a good day. I'm off to do some more work, some more inventing, pay bills, all that type of stuff as you normally roll through any type of business. Had a good day at Circa, as I said yesterday. Happy to say that we're progressing a lot with different changes on the chassis, the MTS T3 and T3M, T3M V2 predominantly. And we'll keep you posted on our Facebook page on that in the next couple of days. Thanks very much for your time. It's greatly appreciated. Take care of yourselves. It's Monday. Look after yourself. Have a good afternoon, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Take care, guys. Bye, y'all.